everyone. Today we are discussing book two. What is the series called? Something. Hold on, because I know the first one is called Fourth Wing. And this one is just called Iron Flame. I don't know if this series is called something. You know how Wheel of Time is called. It's like the Wheel of Time series. And the first book is The Dragon Reborn. This is Iron Flame, and I don't see you know, I don't know what the full series is called. But anyway, this is the second book of Fourth Wing, and we pick the story back up with not Cat. Oh my goodness. We pick the story back up with Violet in the secret town that they're all living in. I think it's called Atos. I'm not good with remembering names or anything. I haven't written down any notes. And she's angry at Xaden for secrets he's been keeping in the past. And she's also angry at her brother for... Oh, yes. In this book, we found out that her brother, Brennan, is alive. Well, we found out at the end of Fourth Wing. But yeah, in this one, she actually gets to talk to him. But yeah, I'm going to do these book club questions, book discussion questions that I found on, what's this site? But it asked, what's one thing you liked about Fourth Wing? The dragons mostly. And I really like the friendships that we've built up, especially Violet and her friend. I'm so bad with names. Her friend, her name starts with an R, but I like their friendship, and I like that it didn't get affected that much by her having to keep secrets, but we find that out a little bit later on in Iron Wing. The dragons is the big thing that I really like about all of these books. Okay, anyway, with these book club questions, but I'm gonna just discuss the book as I remember it. We pick up with her and her talking with Brennan, and she's been healed after this battle, and she says that her and Xaden can't really be together because of this little honesty thing. She feels like she needs to know every single secret that he has, but we know that's not really realistic because everybody has, things that they're going to keep to themselves, even if it's not some big thing that they're, hiding. Everybody needs to have a little piece of themselves kept apart in a relationship. Otherwise, that's just too much intermeshing. And I don't know, you still want to feel like your own person when you're in a relationship. So the fact that she wants to know all of his secrets is a little silly. And she has this little thing going about how, don't touch me again until we can be honest. But then he flips it all around on her in this book, where she's practically begging him to be together. And he's the one who's like, no, you're the one who said that we can't kiss, we can't touch, we can't have sex again until we're 100% honest with each other. It's really annoying because I hate when one person sets boundaries in the relationship about what they want, and then they're the ones who's like trying to push to break them. You know what I mean? That was a really annoying facet for like the first half of the book. Yeah, and we get all those little scenes of her being annoyed that now he's the one sticking to my word. Oh, God. I don't really like their relationship. I don't really like the discussions that they have throughout the book. I feel like it kind of takes away from the book that I'm having, but I guess it's a romance and fantasy, one of those romantic-y books. But I feel like their romance is like the weakest part of the book because they have a lot of the same conversations over and over again. It was the same with her friendship with Dane at the beginning of Fourth Wing book. They were constantly discussing him trying to keep her safe. And then her and Xaden, or Shaden, however you want to pronounce his name, they're always discussing what secrets he's going to be allowed to tell her, what questions that she's going to ask. Like, that's a theme from the very first part of Iron Flame all the way up until the end. And then when they finally resolve it, he's got another, they throw in another little thing that their relationship is going to have to get through in, I'm guessing, the next book. Relationship discussion out. They decide, after they've been attacked at the wall, her and all the people that have now found out that Vaden and Wyvern and all of these things are real and not just children's stories, and that they're not just fighting against Griffin riders at the border, or that they're not the ones that are just taking the wards down, that they're gonna have to go back to the school and pretend they don't know all of these things. But it was a really cool scene where they go back to the school on, I think it's graduation day, and they've just announced that they're all dead. And then they're like, oh, we're very much alive. So they pop back up. And her mom is happy to see her, of course, but she tries to hide it behind her, general facade. But like I said in the previous thing, General Sorrengail, she's not like as cold as she pretends to be. She's just doing everything she can to keep her children safe, but she'll sacrifice anybody else in order to do that. Nobody and nothing is as important as her kids. After that, we have, let me get her friend's name so that I won't keep calling her some random nonsense. Her friend's name is Rhiannon. I don't know how I keep forgetting that, but yeah, her friend Rhiannon, she's having to keep secrets that about the wyvern and all of this stuff, and that Xaden is also smuggling weapons to the Griffin Riders so that they're able to defend themselves against the wyvern and the, what's it called when their eyes get all bloodshotty? But yeah, she's having to keep all of this from her friend, and she feels all guilty and ate up about it for half of the book until she eventually tells her. She's also hiding things from her friend in the scribe quadrants. I can't remember her name either. God, my memory is like a sieve. There's also a new teacher on the premises. His name is it General Varish? I don't know, General Sergeant, whatever. But yeah, this new Varish guy, and he's got like a personal vendetta against Violet. He's sorts of, he's kind of eyeballing her right away, like, ugh. And during, the day when they usually just like line up the squads and they've survived coming across the parapet, his dragon, this one-eyed freak, ends up burning half of teams and even people who already have dragons. Psychotic. Anyway, Taryn puts him back in his place. He really should have been punished for that, but whatever. What's the next thing that happens? A couple of classes. Also, there's some propaganda spread about the school on these little leaflets during their war briefing class or whatever it's called, that says that people in the towns are just being slaughtered and stuff like that. And dragon bodies are being found. We later learned that those dragon bodies are actually the wyvern, and can't really hide these things anymore. This is also the second year in this school, so they're doing new things. The dragon riders are having to go out with the not dragon riders, I can't remember what they're called, into the woods, and they have to find their way back without using their dragons or their signets, which is their magic. And they can't read a map to save their lives. They didn't even compare them. They can barely communicate with each other because the dragon riders see themselves as sort of superior to the other team, so like they're not communicating. But yeah, they end up meeting a dragon in the woods who burns somebody to death. You run from a dragon, it's gonna burn you. You look all scared and whatnot, you're gonna get pretty much taken down. But during this, the reason they couldn't really use their signets or communicate with their dragons is because they've given them this potion to drink. I call it a potion. I can't remember what they called it in the book. That suppresses their connection to their dragons, so they can't talk to them and their dragons can't really feel them. So they were out there without that. And later, Violet gets slipped this in a drink. Like I said, she's just taking food and drink from people when she knows that this is a possibility. But somebody she trusts gave it to her. But still, if you know you can have your connection with your dragon taken away, you really shouldn't be taking food and drink from anybody, especially if you're in the middle of stealing some secret documents, like she was in the later part of the book, where she's trying to steal these journals that'll tell how to set up the wards where the rebels are living. They also have torture training where they beat you up and try to get a secret out of you. She ends up breaking out of this, but I feel like, I don't know how useful of a class that is, because it teaches you the pain so you can withstand it. But I'm thinking, if you know what the pain feels like, you'll be more likely to break before you feel that pain again. Is that just me? I don't know. Her and Xaden are having a sort of long distance relationship in this book, where she has to fly to where he's stationed, because he's a third year, I believe. So he's actually stationed out on the walls to protect against anybody, breaking against him, which is usually the Griffin Riders. So she has to fly out to him, and while they're there, they pretend their relationship is stronger than it is. And she's practically begging him to break the rules that she set in place. And she also learns that the scars and stuff on Xaden, I'm so bad at explaining this, but yeah, she also learns that the scars on his back were put there by his mom, each for the rebel kids of the people who were put down during when the traitors who uprose against the current government. But yeah, she's caught taking this journal by the healer guy. He drugs her And then Varys gets her down in the dungeons where they had the torture training classes, and now he's torturing her for real to get information about what they know about the Wyvern. No, he's torturing her for real to get information out of her about the rebels, about the secret base, about why she would need these journals in the first place. And while she's down there, she sort of hallucinates seeing Liam, aka the best character who existed in the books and ended up getting killed when the Wyvern attacked them and the Vaenen. He died along with his dragon. But yeah, she hallucinates him down there talking to her. The author did say that the previous books have given hint as to what her second signet is, because she's got 2 dragons, so she has another signet, I believe. Xaden also has 2 signets. I don't really like his second signet. I don't care for it. But I'm thinking this might be no, because Andarna was asleep at this time. Or maybe her signet is bringing people together. I don't know. We'll find out in Onyx, whatever the 3rd book is called. I can't remember my train of thought. Where was I? She's being tortured, and she escaped, but also Xaden has come for her at this time, as well as her mother. And they break her out, and they realize they can't stay at the school anymore. So they go up, and Violet is like, we can't let the students keep living like this. Let's bring the ones who are willing to follow. Tell them what's really happening out in the real world. Tell them about the soldiers killing people who know about the Wyvern attacking their towns, about Vaenen being real. We need to tell the dragon riders. So a couple of first years end up coming with them. Dane is one of them. He's switched sides, so to speak. He was such a rule follower, and he realizes that the people whose rules he were following weren't being honest with him, and he ended up really hurting his friend in the process of being such a little brown nose. But yeah, he comes with them. They kill Varys, and one of Violet's goals in this book is to get the wards up and running at, what is the name of the town? I think it starts with an A, where all of the rebels are living. She really pisses me off sometimes, though, because they keep calling her smart, but then these journals that she worked so hard to steal, she only reads part of it. And she's like, I know what we have to do to get the wards up and running. And then when that doesn't work, she practically falls into depression and decides to run off to this city, show off her power in order to get a blacksmith for the rebels. But while there, the person who's running the town, there's actually a Vaenen on the premises and tries to kill Violet, but they end up getting everything that they need. Their Cat is there because this guy turns out to be her uncle. Cat is Xaden's ex-girlfriend, and we learn that she has the power to manipulate emotions. She can heighten whatever somebody is feeling. She can't give somebody emotions, but whatever they're already feeling, she can vastly enhanced. So Violet's insecurities and jealousy is really heightened when she's in the presence of this gorgeous gal. At first I didn't like Kat, but I very much like her now. She's one of my favorite characters. And we find Dane. He's looking over the book that Violet was finding the information for wards in, and he says, did you read the beginning of the book? This is the translation you got? And she was like, no, I just read the important part. And I about flipped my lid because I feel like a lot of her plans aren't things that she's put together herself. A lot of her ideas that she comes up with, she's not the one who executes. And this big thing that she was part of, getting these journals, coming up with the idea of getting these hidden journals, or was that also her scribe friend? Who knows? Anyway, and she doesn't read the whole thing. She doesn't think it's important to start the book from the beginning. She doesn't think it's important to maybe try different tactics when it comes to the wards. Also, when it comes to putting up these wards, dragon's breath is needed, but the same dragon can't do the same one again or can't make another ward. I don't know. Strange rules. Runes are involved. Anyhow, her and Dane work on retranslating the book so that now they actually know how to set the wards, and they discover that the Griffin Riders won't be able to use their powers inside of the barrier if they set up these wards. But I feel like somebody made these wards in the first place. Why can't they maybe think of a different way to make these wards work? Because the original people who made the wards, they were just trying to keep people out, keep people within safe. If they're working with the Griffin Riders now, shouldn't they maybe figure out, I don't know, it's like they're not trying to be innovative. They're just going by the book, and they already know the book has been manipulated over the past 600 years of this war to make one reality versus what the reality actually is. You know what I mean? And none of them are being inventive when it comes to this. But during this, her and Xaden finally reconcile. because she's like, I can't be without you. And I understand that you do have to keep secrets. But then she starts being afraid to ask him questions like, is my mom really the one who put these cuts on you and made you promise to keep me safe once I was over the parapet? And he's like, I know you got questions to ask me, just ask them. And she's like, if you know I got questions, just tell me stuff. They're both wrong in that fact. And they're also both right. If you got questions, ask them. But if you already know she wants to know stuff, just start talking. You know what I mean? But yeah, they eventually work it out again. And Darna, she was asleep for a really long time because she was a little baby dragon. Now she's an adolescent dragon. And she's got kind of shifting scales. And she's also got a little hurt wing. So she's not able to fly as long as the other dragons. And this is because she flew too long during her youth. So she's not able to carry a rider on her back or fly for long distances without the little carrier that Tarn has to transport her around. She's a little salty about it, but she's also one of my favorite characters. She manages to slay a dragon. She slays I keep wanting to call them dark friends, but she slays one of the, she slays one of the bad guys. And quite frankly, oh God, this is another instance that Violet pissed me off. She knows how bad these people are. And she's like, no, I want to talk to him for a bit. I want to ask him some questions. And that's not a good idea when they are evil. And Jack is still alive. Jack was brought back by the, I'm doing such a bad job at telling y'all about this book. But anyway, it was good. I don't like the relationship between Xaden and Violet. I wish they would break up, but considering what type of book it is, I don't think they will. I really like Sawyer. Poor guy lost his leg though. A wyvern just nibbled it right on off. He's kind of starting a little thing with the scribe girl. The scribe girl is someone that I also really like because she doesn't really have battle prowess, but she has the guts. During this battle, we get that General Mongren guy who can see battles conclusions. They try to convince the rebels to join them at the wall because they see one of the wards falling. But Brennan steps forward and he was like, y'all were willing to sacrifice people, so we're willing to sacrifice you. You know better if you think like that. But yeah, his mom is all like, oh, Brennan, you're alive. And he's like, yes, I am. And walks away. He's like, I don't want to talk to you. She says to her daughters, Brennan's alive. And they're like, yeah. But anyway, she doesn't really feel bad about what she's been doing all these years because she did it to keep them safe. And that was her thing. Later in the book, when Violet realizes that General Mongren saw part of the battle, he didn't see everything because what was really important happening had 3 of the rebel children involved, and when they're together, he can't see. I wonder why that is. Bunch of nonsense in my book. But anyway, he can't see the outcome of the battle that they're involved in. So instead they go back to the school and realize that the wards are being taken down by Jack, the idiot from book 1, who's been healed and revived by the idiot healer guy. And he slays his dragon on the ward stone, and that brings it down. And instead of just killing him right away, they're like, no, we got to ask him some questions. And Dane reads his memories. I feel like they should have just killed him right then and there, but he's probably going to be a recurring feature in the following books. Not really excited about it. He's kind of a boring, I'm just straight up evil kind of guy. Nothing fancy, no cleverness, just straight up evil. And he's bragging about what he's done. Violet is like, Brennan, can you heal the stone? And apparently healers or menders can mend just about any broken thing, be it rocks, be it people. Yeah, so he goes about mending the stone while they're taking down as many wyvern as they can. And once the stone is mended, Violet tries to convince everyone that they should try to bring the wards back up. And to do that, they need the assistance of a couple of dragons. So she asks General Mongren, I don't think that's his name, but she asks his dragon, it's one of the rare black ones, just like her Terran is, if he'll lend his breath to the stone. And he agrees. And her dragon, Andarna, she's a different kind of dragon. While she shows black colors, she's more like an oil spill. So she's constantly showing different colors as well, like a rainbow. And she offers to lend her breath as well because they need different types of dragons. But Violet is like, no, you can't. Her mom also eventually shows up, but Violet goes to the ward stone and she cuts off her connection to, because her, Xaden, Tarn, like all of them, they can feel each other, hear each other's thoughts up on occasion. She cuts off her connection to them so that she can pour all of her power into the ward stone in order to reactivate it. And she's just up and decided to kill herself to do this. She didn't try to think of any other solutions. She's just they keep calling her smart, but she keeps doing a whole bunch of nonsense. Anyway, her mom finds her in there trying to kill herself. Brennan is trying to pull her off the stone. and they end up kicking her away. And her mom is like, I'll kill myself instead. And she uses, what's her name? Sloane, who is Liam's sister, to transfer her power as well as her dragon's life power into the stone in order to get the wards up and running. They managed to make it happen, but now General Sorengel is dead. After all of this, after they succeeded, she realizes that she can't really feel or hear Xaden. So she goes out to the battlefield to look for him, and his dragon is like, be careful how you respond to him. And turns out that while she was in there trying to kill herself, he was out there sucking life magic or whatever out of the earth. So now he's got these bloodshot eyes like the Venin, about to turn into a dark friend. And he's like, oh, you won't love me anymore. This is like the second time he's done this, because once she found out that his second signet was, it's not exactly to read people's minds. Those people always get killed by, like if their signet manifests as a mind reader, they get straight up murked. And his manifested as reading intentions, which is similar to reading people's mind, but it can just more read what someone intends to do or how they really feel about a situation. And really annoying. I thought it was just really cool that he could sort of read people, maybe from life experiences, so he's really good at knowing what somebody is going to do based on how they've been acting. But no, he's got a signet that can help him along. He thought that Violet would fall out of love with him for this, and she said no, it would take more than that. And so now he's got these bloodshot eyes, and he's like, well, this is it. She's not going to love me anymore. But she's just embraces him because, you know. Anyway, I feel like they're going to be struggling with it in book 2, or he's going to be trying to hide himself away more in book, no, but not book 2, in book 3. What's it called? Onyx Storm maybe is what it's called, maybe. But he's going to probably be trying to hide himself away, and they're going to have this honest discussion talk again. Anyway, the leader of the Venin wants Violet for some reason. She's so powerful. She can't even control her lightning. She just got a powerful dragon and a powerful signet. And kind of her signet doesn't seem that powerful to me. I mean, it's just throwing lightning around. There was one point where Varys was punishing her by making her do lightning strikes that she can't even aim, to the point where at one point it turned into like a sort of beam where she ended up slicing them out. And I think she should work on that, get like laser beam hands. I feel like she doesn't have to push herself in order to reach that potential. She needs to, because if you can make lightning strike, I feel like there are other things that you could do with that power. But yeah, she's supposed to get a second signet too. The author did say it's already shown up in these books, so I'm gonna spend some time thinking about that, what that is, and see if I can guess it before I get too far into the third book. But yeah, these books are kind of on a 7 out of 10 for me. I feel like I would like them a lot better if there wasn't so much same discussion from couples and friends. That's it. Bye.